Welcome to the e-content at Saram Dental College, Ramapuram Microbiology Department. Today's lecture video is on medical parasitology, its introduction, history and classification of parasites. Parasitology is the study of science that deals with the phenomenon of dependence of one living organism on another living organism. So simple saying, it is a study of parasites, their host and the relationship between them, the relationship between the parasite and the host. So what is medical parasitology? Medical parasitology is the study of the parasites that cause infection in the man. That is how they enter inside, how they multiply, their life cycle and the clinical manifestation caused by them, and how to diagnose the parasite and its prophylaxis or treatment. So that is medical parasitology. That is studying about the parasites that cause infection in the humans. So parasitology has two branching. One is protozoology and another is helminthology. So protozoology is nothing but the study of protozoa, which is a unicellular parasite, and helminthology is the study of helminths, which is a multicellular parasites. So going to the history, so the history of parasitology is the Dutch microscopist Anton van Leeuwenhoek in the year 1681 first discovered Giardia protozoal flagellates in his stool. Next, in 1870, the father of microbiology, Louis Pasteur, did a study on protozoal diseases, and in Patrick Manson in the year 1878 discovered filariasis is caused by the mosquitoes, and he first identified mosquito as a vector for disease transmission. So this is classification of parasites. So whole important, medically important parasites, that is parasites which causes infection in human, everything is mentioned here. So parasite is of two types, unicellular protozoa and multicellular helminths. Protozoa from the kingdom Protista and helminths from the kingdom Animalia. So under protozoa, so these are the four important, medically important protozoa. First is amoebae, next is flagellates and sporozoa and ciliates. So these are the parasites which comes under this class. Next is the helminths. So three classes: nematodes, cestodes and trematodes, and these are the parasites which comes under the class. So this is classification of parasites. Yeah, so what is parasites and classification of parasites? So definition is living organism which depends on another living organism for its survival and nourishment. So classification of parasites is of three types: ectoparasites, endoparasites and free living parasites. So ectoparasites are parasites which inhabit or survive in the outer surface of the host. So no penetration of the host. Example: lice, ticks and mice. Next is endoparasites. So parasites which penetrate the host and survive inside the host. Example: most of the disease causing parasites like protozoal and helminths comes under endoparasites. Next is free living parasites. So these are referred to as non-parasite, that is they do not depend on host, they are independent of the host, but when they come in contact with the host becomes parasite and causes infection. Example: Naegleria flori. It is a parasite which is present in the warm water. Example: in swimming pools and water tanks. So when they come in contact with the human, they enter inside the human and causes infections. So free living are usually non-parasitic organism, but becomes parasites when they come in contact with the uh, but causes the infection when they come in contact with the humans. So in this slide we will see definition for host and types of host. So definition is, it is a living organism which harbors or acts as a habitat for the parasite and provides nutrition and shelter to the host, and it is usually larger than the parasite. Nutrition and shelter to the parasite, and it is usually larger than the parasite. So first type is definite host. So what is definite host? It is the host where the parasites multiply, where the parasites reproduce, is the definite host. So the host in which the adult parasites lives and undergo its reproduction. This is the definite host. Example, Aedes mosquito acts as a definite host in malaria. So mosquito is the definite host, and the man is the intermediate host. So the Plasmodium maturation takes place in the man. So man is the intermediate host, and mosquito stomach, gut of the mosquito acts as a definite host where the reproduction takes place, is the definite host. Next is the intermediate host. I told already, where intermediate host is the host where the parasites mature. They passes the stages, like from larval stage to protozoal stage. So there is intermediate host is a place where the parasites mature. In some parasites, two different intermediate hosts may be required to complete different larval stage. So two different hosts are required for its maturation. So they are the first and second intermediate host respectively. So what is host? Definite host is the host where the organism multiply, reproduction takes place. Intermediate host is where the parasite mature to become an adult. It's having a direct life cycle, that is, the parasite will have only one single host and they complete their life cycle in that one single host. So these are the parasites under protozoa, and these are the parasites under helminth. So direct life, or one single host used in their life cycle. So parasites which require two hosts to complete their life cycle. One is the definite host and the other is an intermediate host. So these are the protozoa which require two hosts, followed by the helminths, that is cestodes, trematodes and nematodes. These are the parasites which require two different hosts to complete their life cycle. So next parasite is helminth, and a small introduction. So it is a multinucleated parasite and belongs to the kingdom Metazoa. So two phylum which causes infection in human are platyhelminths and nemathelminths. So under platyhelminths, two classes, cestodes and trematodes. So flatworms, tiny worms comes under platyhelminths, and nematodes comes under the phylum nemathelminths. So helminths, the stages or the forms of helminths will be egg stage, larval stage and adult stage. So if you see an adult worm, it has a head, it has suckers, it has alimentary canals, it has anus region. So the adult worm can be differentiated with the sex, male and female worms. So they reproduce by producing eggs. So they are oviparous. So this is the characteristic feature of this parasite, helminth. So things to remember: helminth is a multicellular and phylum to phylum, platyhelminths and nematelminths. So this is a table form which shows the difference between the helminths, chestotrematodes and nematodes, and so the differentiation is based on the features like shape, head of the adult worm, there are alimentary canal, presence of ANS or absence of ANS, the body cavity, then the differentiation by the sex in the adult worm and its life cycle. So whether they require a direct host or a indirect host for their life cycle. So this table is enough for the helminths. So this is the features of the helminth. So first is cestodes. So cestodes are flattened worms with the segmented bodies. They do not process alimentary canal. So adult worm has a head, sucker, and also have hooks. They possess thorax, necks, and proglottis. They are monoecious, that is both sex present in one worm. And body cavity is absent. They are oviparous, that is they reproduce by laying eggs. So example for cestode is tapeworm. So next is trematodes, and morphology is a flat leaf-like structure, and it is unsegmented bodies. Alimentary canal present but incomplete. No anus. Possess suckers and no hooks. They are cystosomes where the sex is separated, and some other flukes are hermaphroditic or monoecious where the both sex present in one parasite, and they reproduce by laying eggs. Next is nematodes, and the characteristic feature or morphological feature is the worm is elongated cylindrical worms with unsegmented bodies, well developed alimentary canal with an anus, body cavity present, does not have suckers or hookers, but has a buccal capsule with teeth or cutting plates. Both sexes are separated, will have male and female worms, and they reproduce either oviparous, lay eggs, or larviparous, or they lay the whole larva. So that is nematodes. This is host-parasite relationship, or it is an association between the host and the parasites. Explanation of the relationship between the host and the parasites. So three ways of host-parasite relationship. One is symbiosis. Second one is commensalism. Third one is parasitism. 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 First association or host parasitic relationship is the symbiosis, in which the host and the parasite has a mutual relationship. Both depend upon each other. Here none of them, parasite nor the host is affected. So that is symbiotic or mutual relationship between the host and the parasite. Next is the commensalism. In this way, only the parasite is benefited, and the host is not benefited, not harmed, and the parasite or the commensal can live independent, that is without the host. So that association is the commensalism. Next association which causes human infection is the parasitism. So in this association, the parasite is benefited and the host is affected. So in this, the parasite cannot live without the host. So it is independent. So its life is incomplete without the host. So that is parasitism. So if they ask about explain host parasite relationship, means you have to explain what is a parasite, types of parasites, and host, types of host. Next, explaining the definition of this three association. So this is how you will complete the answer for host parasite relationship if they ask in your university exam.